Night Health continues. I'm Mark Alyn. This is the time of day that we spend some time with Robert Clancy, the author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Soul and the Daily Downloads and Fortune Cookies from the Universe. I guess that's really what we're doing here on our show, Late Night Health. Robert, let's talk about anger. You have thoughts.
Yes, interesting topic because I think we all encounter this. My inspirational thought on this is, although it's easy to draw a line in the sand, it's always worth the extra effort to try to draw a heart. And what that means to me is that so many of us fall upon anger, especially when we become frustrated with someone. You know, love and forgiveness take time, but I always look at the benefits that you get from that. And it's always easier to release someone in love. And that's just my mantra.
Well, actually, if you're angry at your wife or spouse or loved one, makeup sex is always great.
I think there's some health benefits there, too.
And there are health benefits as well. Robert, if somebody is interested, other than going to latenighthealth.com, where can somebody find out more about Robert Clancy?
That's a great question. You can go right to guidetothesoul.com, and there's plenty of inspiration to be had there.
Guidetothesoul.com. Robert will be back next week, and we'll have another topic for you right then. Late Night Health continues with our new friend, Dr. Bruce Roseman. He is the author of the AddictoCarb-diet. Avoid the 9 highly addictive carbs while eating anything else you want. Dr. Roseman, does that mean I shouldn't be eating that bagel every morning?
Yes, it does. The reason that people are overweight, at least in the United States and probably the world, but the reason that you are overweight is because of addiction. We have MRIs that can show right now when someone eats AddictoCarbs, the MRI looks exactly the same as a person taking heroin. Exactly. We know that it's from addiction. So if you're overweight, it's from addiction. If you give up the addictive substances, which is no different than giving up heroin, you have to go through the same stages as giving up heroin. But if you give up those addictive substances, you will get thin. So you cannot have a bagel in the morning. You cannot have one half of a bagel. You cannot have 1/4 of one half of a bagel. And the reason is because if you eat any of the substance, it's going to stimulate the addictive center of the brain, and you're going to want to eat more during the course of the day, and that's how you're going to gain weight.
And what do I put my lox and cream cheese on?
Well, first of all, there are alternatives for everything. Personally, what I use is these Wausau crackers, which I talk about in the book. There are things that you can do. In terms of breakfast, you're going to be a lot better off eating something like steel-cut oatmeal. I talk about the various kinds of oatmeal in the book, but you should be eating oatmeal. You can have bacon and eggs, but you cannot have bread with it. You cannot have home fries with it. You can eat all sorts of things. You just have to stay away from number 1 and number 2, bread, potatoes. This is all discussed in the AddictoCarb diet, and I give things that you can substitute for it. For potatoes, for instance, you can have home fries. You just can't have white potato home fries. You want to make home fries with sweet potatoes? Absolutely no problem.
What about Yukon potatoes, which are gold?
White potatoes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would think. My wife is a big potato eater. All right, I am not. I never have been. I will eat if we buy fries. When we do that, I'll eat a couple. I'm just not a big fry person. And if they're thick, I won't eat them at all. I prefer the ketchup, which has too much sugar, and I know that's a no-no.
Well, it depends on the ketchup. Like if you look at Heinz makes a ketchup without high fructose corn syrup, and then they make a regular ketchup, okay? The regular ketchup does not have high fructose corn syrup. You just have to stay away from that. In terms of fries, some people can eat a few fries, but those are not the people that are overweight. The people that are overweight cannot eat a few fries. They eat all the fries. They eat a larger portion of fries. It's great that you can be like that, but the truth is most people can't because 60% of the United States is overweight. You know, 1/3 of the United States has either diabetes or has pre-diabetes. So it's clear that this is the single most pressing issue in American health today.
You're double board certified, family medicine and OBGYN.
Well, I have privileges at the hospital. No, I'm board certified. I was boarded in family medicine, but at the hospital I'm bi-credentialed. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And so you're working with both men, women, families,
and children. Yes.
And children, right?
Yes.
And so you just there was the Lay's potato chip. I'm looking at your picture.
You can't eat just one.
I can. I can eat just a couple of potato chips.
You're not the person that you're not the person the AddictoCarb-diet is aimed at. The AddictoCarb-diet is aimed at the 60% of Americans that are overweight and all the people with diabetes. That's who it's aimed at.
Or pre-diabetes.
Well, I don't want to get into a whole thing here with the American government, but this whole thing about pre-diabetes is, in my mind, bogus. I mean, you can't be pre-pregnant. Okay, if you're pregnant, you're going to have a baby. Okay, if you have pre-diabetes, you're getting diabetes. It's just a matter of time as to when the diabetes hits. The underlying pathophysiology is the same. So when they say pre-diabetes, they're talking about hemoglobin A1C of between 5.8 and 6.5. And once you get to 6.5, they want to call it diabetes. Well, that's okay. But the truth is that diabetes is diabetes. Either you got it or you don't got it.
So you can't be a little bit diabetic like you can't be a little bit pregnant.
Right. Eventually it's going to be florid diabetes, and eventually you're going to have a baby. And I think that's what the problem is. By the year 2050 in the United States, 50% of the United States population will be diabetic.
I'm curious. I'm going to take your MD away. I'm going to call you Bruce for a minute.
Fine.
Okay? And Bruce, did you do this because you had a problem yourself?
I have lost 70 pounds 3 times in my life.
Oh, my God.
And immediately after losing the 70 pounds, I went on the same diet that everybody goes on when they lose weight, including all these people on these weight loss shows. This is all a bunch of baloney. They all gain it back, okay?
Yes.
I went on the same diet, and that is the gaining your weight back diet. But about 14 years ago, I was 52 years old. That's the age that my father died and left a young family behind. Okay, I was 52 years old. I had heart disease. I had diabetes. I was on insulin. I was on prostate medication. I was on high blood pressure medication. I had a cardiac catheterization. And I decided that I was not going to leave my children the way my father left me. So I went on this diet. I scoured the literature. I mean, I'm not inventing the wheel here. The data is available for anybody to look up about addiction. I don't know why nobody's talking about it. That's how I decided how I was going to go on a diet. Now, I don't know if anybody knows, my first book, I invented a new method to teach reading for children with learning disabilities. Let me just tell you, after inventing a method to teach reading to children with learning disabilities, coming up with a diet is a piece of cake, literally.
But
Okay?
if somebody is addicted to, say, heroin, they give you, you go into rehab.
Exactly.
And they give you methadone or something
and
else today.
I do the exact same thing in this. You are absolutely correct. I do the same thing in this diet. The first 3 days are withdrawal. Now, in my case, I mean, you have to, it's easier than heroin addiction because what they do is I have these system of shakes that people take. And basically what it boils down to is putting lots of fruit, a flavoring, when you can get whatever you want. I use Slim Fast. I like the taste, but my nurse uses a General Nutrition Center protein powder, and they sell them in Costco. You can get it.
We're talking about the AddictoCarb-diet with Dr. Bruce Roseman. You started the writing of this particular book because of your personal experience, not only being overweight, but the fact that your father died at such a young age. And we were talking during our time out that Daryl's dad died at 42. My father passed at 57. And it's devastating.
There's no reason for it.
There's no reason for it. I'd like to be around to see grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Well, I can tell you, I'm 66 now, and I can do anything right now that I could do when I was 25.
Yeah, my problem is that I wasn't athletic at 25, so I would get out of breath walking up a flight of stairs, and my weight hasn't changed all that much. It's just I'm not athletic. Mm-hmm. So how does that fit into the AddictoCarb diet? Exercise.
Well, look, exercise is important. It's great. I love exercise. I do it myself. I swim 7 days a week, and I walk miles every single day. I live by what I say. But the truth is, you're not going to lose any weight by exercising. I deal with this in the book. It's sort of toned down, but I deal with this in the book, where you're just not going to lose weight by doing that. Exercise is a risk factor. There's no question. And you need to do as much exercise as you can. But the single most important risk factor is weight. There has to be weight control. You have to get your weight down. People think, well, I'm 15 pounds overweight. It's not that big a deal. Wrong. If you're 15 pounds overweight, that raises your blood pressure. That increases your risk of cancer. That increases your risk of prostate cancer. It increases your risk of high blood pressure. It increases your risk of heart attacks. Absolutely not. People don't realize how important weight is. Weight is the single most important factor.
And you hit the number, I would say, that I'm overweight. Daryl, would you agree with
what?
That I'm 15 pounds overweight?
You don't show it, but yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. I'm, when I got married, I weighed 118 pounds. When I graduated, when I graduated high school 10 years earlier, I weighed 118 pounds. I could eat 2 Big Macs and not feel full. And by the way, I didn't do the fries. Can't do that anymore, but because it's been a couple of years since I've been out of high school or even gotten married. But my point is that I have put on some weight.
And it affects your arteries.
It does. I had a scan, a heart scan 2 years ago now that showed no plaque, no calcium plaque, which was great.
Great.
But I know I need to do something. I know I need to exercise. I know I need to change my diet because I am, especially under stress, addicted to carbs. Mm-hmm. No doubt in my mind that if I had a choice between a piece of chocolate, which is loaded with carbs.
Well, it depends.
Of course. I like dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate. Yeah, but there's still sugar in it. I mean, even
very little. Dark chocolate is fine. Dark chocolate helps with diabetes. You will not. I eat chocolate every single day.
Oh my!
Every single day, I eat chocolate almond bark. I love it. You are not going to get fat from eating chocolate. What you're going to gain weight from.
We're going to Trader Joe's right now
potatoes.
to pick that up.
Bread and potatoes is the problem, and then following right on its heels is soda and fruit juice. Those are the things they're going to put on the weight. Dark chocolate, no big deal. And I tell people all the time, I get these phone calls from people all the time that say, look, I'm going out with the in-laws on the weekend. I have to be able to eat. We're taking them to a night restaurant. What can I eat? And my answer is always the same for those people. In fact, I have handouts in the office that I give to people. And that is, you're going out to dinner, fine. Have a shake. Have an AddictoCarbs shake before you go out to eat. When you go out to eat, you got to have a piece of the chocolate layer cake? Fine. Have the chocolate layer cake. The one thing you don't do when you go out to eat, you do not eat bread and potatoes. It's no bread, no potatoes, no exceptions.
We're going to take a time out. When we come back, we'll continue this, all right? The AddictoCarb-diet. Did you know that potatoes, bagels, and bread affect your brain the same way as heroin? We've got Dr. Bruce Roseman and his book, The AddictoCarb-diet. We'll be back as Late Night Health continues.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt that is straining your monthly budget? Have you been turned down for a personal loan, credit card, or mortgage? We'll quickly connect you with expert financial resources that provide free information that helps save you time and money and get you back on track. Don't spend hours a day searching for help. With just one phone call, we'll quickly connect you with your debt solution. We have programs to settle your debt, lower your bills, and cut your monthly payments. Call 800-989-8123 to get a free debt analysis to help you reduce your debt and get you back on track. The call is free, secure, and confidential. Call 800-989-8123. 800-989-8123. 800-989-8123. That's 800-989-8123.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
800-280-3454. 800-280-3454. 800-280-3454.